Would you like to use the mic there? The question is it appropriate for a judicial candidate to accept partisan endorsements? Can we trust you to be impartial? 90 seconds.
Once again, a great question. So is it appropriate for judges to receive partisan endorsements?
Judicial candidates.
Judicial candidates to receive partisan endorsements.
To accept partisan endorsements.
To accept partisan endorsements. I believe that if the endorsement process, and many times it is created so that people can get to know you, know what you stand for, know your name. I think that is something that really needs to be considered, particularly when you consider the fact that bench officer elections have been low information for a very long time. How else do people get to know one another other than by coming to, I love coming to small events like this, but there are 5 million eligible voters in the state of California. There's 5 million eligible voters in the county of Los Angeles. It would be impossible to meet all of them and have them know me or any of the candidates without things like endorsements, without things like political parties getting out the vote so people will know who they are, without all of those sort of things. So unless there is some sort of independent process through which judicial candidates can be discovered, right, that is non-political, it will be impossible for people to know who they are. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay, so Tracy Blount, same question. Is it appropriate for a judicial candidate to accept partisan endorsements? Can we trust you to be impartial? 90 seconds.
I'll say I agree with George that getting out to forums, we all will go to whatever forum we're invited to. It doesn't matter who's hosting it. But the procedure, the system has already kind of been set up so that judges have to fall in. I'm new to this. I learned this, the procedures. This was my first time running, and so now I understand. Going to a forum, it helps people get to know who you are, like George said. That's just the way it is. We were invited here, we came. If another group offers for me to come and speak and get to know me as a judicial candidate, I will go. I'm not really concerned so much about who's hosting it and who says we like Tracy Blount as a candidate as I am people getting to know who I am and what I stand for. So as a candidate, that's where I'm coming from. But that's, this is how things work. And so we're working within those parameters.
Okay, five seconds to spare there, so good job. Okay, so
Can I use those 5 seconds?
we're going to complete this round, and then it's going to begin with Renee. We're going to go in reverse order, and we're doing closing statements. So if you want to include something in your closing statement, we're just going to complete, since we're not doing any responses or rebuttals, we're just answering.
I understand, but the thing is, as candidates, we don't always have input on that. People endorse us without our permission, without our knowledge. I found out.
Okay, let's continue now. We have Georgia Huerta. Okay, so the question, is it appropriate for a judicial candidate to accept partisan endorsements? Can we trust you to be impartial? 90 seconds.
You can trust me to be impartial regardless who endorses me. I don't have any control over that. If I'm invited to go to an event, whether it's partisan or not, I am going to go. This event does not endorse. You guys ask us to come here to your forum to state forth our platform. But you individually may belong to some particular political party. I'm not going to ask you what your party affiliation is. You're not going to ask me what mine is. But you're going to go and you're going to make a decision and you're going to vote. So my position is, it's not so much as to who's endorsing me, even though I know that may be important to some people. I think what's more important is whether or not I will be impartial. And these types of forums allow you to know something more about us other than just what we read. You can read anything. A person can write anything. And that only gives you so much information. But when you get to, like they say, look in someone's eyes, hear their words for yourself, then that, I think, is much more informative. So I've been endorsed by some political parties. Well, one. I'm glad for their endorsement, but it has nothing to do with my impartiality.
Thank you very much. Next is Stephen Mack. The question, is it appropriate for a judicial candidate to accept partisan endorsements? Can we trust you to be impartial?
You can trust me to be impartial because I hold paramount the judicial canons of ethics as a warrant, and also our duties as judicial officers to uphold the Constitution. It requires us to be impartial in order for our system of justice to function. The partisan system is a way for our community to be represented. That's how democracy works, where people of similar minds get together to talk about the issues of the day. And that's a way for the community to learn about us, to learn about who we are and what we stand for. That we stand for our communities, public service, and the law, and being fair. Another way to think about it is that there are two ways to be a judge. One is through being elected by the pure democratic process. Another way is to be nominated by a politician. Both ways require us to show and be presented in a way that representatives look at us. Both ways will be an honor to get onto the bench, but both have this concern about where your allegiances will lie. But fundamentally, you're chosen by the people or by a leader based on your ability to serve and your impartiality.
Thank you very much. And now Erica, why don't you again, the same question. Is it appropriate for a judicial candidate to accept partisan endorsements? Can we trust you to be impartial?
The way I understand this question is, when you talk about the term partisan endorsements, I guess a political party, perhaps.
Yes.
I would expand that definition though a little bit to the extent that I believe that endorsements from individual groups, all of the individual groups that seek to provide endorsements, are making a statement about who they think is an appropriate candidate for the job. I think looking at those groups and who supports individual candidates certainly informs voters about whether or not their leanings socially, politically, community-based are in line with the candidate who's endorsed by that party, that group. What George talked about is true. It's literally impossible to get in front of the community. This is a county-wide race. Everyone in LA County will be voting on everyone in the judicial races here. So it's important to seek endorsements from groups across the county. And I don't think that it's inappropriate to have partisan endorsements because all of us, all of the endorsers have leanings which are important for voters. But I think paramount is judicial independence, and I will be an independent judge.
Thank you, Erica. Next up is Sharon Ransom. So Sharon, the question is it appropriate for a judicial candidate to accept partisan endorsements? Can we trust you to be impartial?
Thank you. You can absolutely trust me to be impartial. We receive requests from different organizations to endorse us, and like George said earlier, we have to reach out to 5 million voters in Los Angeles County. And these parties help to get our name out there. But it's also events like this that allow us voters to see us and hear what we plan to do, what kind of judges we plan to be. I don't think that has any influence. I know it doesn't have any influence on me. I've been endorsed by different parties, labor organizations, police unions, judges, doctors, psychiatrists in the community, because they all have been vetted and they all believe in my ability to be fair and impartial. And when someone comes to our courtroom, we don't ask them what political party they belong to. We treat them as they are, as a person. We see why they're in the court and what their issues are without any political party in mind. So it will never affect my ability to be fair. I'm not going to wonder or even care what political party they're from. We need to be fair and just use discretion to follow the law.
Okay, thank you. And then now Renee Rose, and I'm sure you have the question by now. I'll just repeat it. It is it appropriate for a judicial candidate to accept partisan endorsements? Can we trust you to be impartial in your sentence?
Well, I think there's different ways in which political groups provide support to us. And I think what is important is to look at not only who endorses our candidacy, but if we receive funding from that group. I think that's a different level of support that you get. It is very difficult to get your name out in this community, and having individuals that will go out and canvass for you or call people or text is a financial benefit to a candidate. And if there are partisan groups that are providing that financial benefit to candidates, I think that's something that voters should look at, along with who endorses. And I agree that there are groups that have researched us and believe that they are politically aligned with us and offer us their endorsement. And that is important to get our name out there. It is important to get, when you talk about platform, we don't really have a platform, right? Our platform is to be fair, impartial judges, follow the law. That's sort of the platform that we have. But it is important to look at who is supporting the candidates financially, as well as providing endorsements where they get the message out to their members. And I think you can learn a lot about a candidate by who provides that additional financial support.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.